Think about someone being addicted to, for example, gambling, shopping, sex, right? That alters your mood and your chemicals in a different way. Well, so does procrastination. I want to refer to this as your inner drugstore. This is similar to perfectionistic thinking, overthinking, overanalyzing, ruminating. You can be addicted to worry, something you are doing so often that you don't want to be doing it. You have such a difficult time stopping it. You're powerless over it, and it is impacting you spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally on some level. Here's a hard truth most people won't tell you. Procrastination is a drug. It gives you short-term relief while quietly robbing you of long-term success. And it's not just a bad habit you can fix with a to-do list or a productivity app. Studies show that over 88% of people procrastinate for at least an hour a day. And among entrepreneurs, it's even more dangerous because when you're the one responsible for your results, procrastination can literally cost you your income, your impact, your confidence, your entire business. And even worse, procrastination is often a trauma response, a nervous system survival mechanism dressed up as perfectionism, overwhelmed, or I'll do it tomorrow, or I don't feel that good, or I'm not motivated today. So if you've been stuck in the loop of knowing what to do, but never actually doing it, or you know you need to do the thing, but you can't get yourself to do it, and you can't seem to find the time or the energy or the focus to do it, this episode isn't about motivation hacks or morning routines. It's about the real reason you're not taking action and how to detox from the emotional patterns keeping your business and income stuck in place from the drug of procrastination. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. One of my favorite topics and one of my most popular episodes of all times is the episode Procrastination is Fear in Disguise. And I felt like a updated version of the episode was necessary, was called for right now for all of my fellow procrastinators. Everyone raised their hands collectively. And it's generally my also fellow overthinkers, overanalyzers, my creatives, my multi-passionates, my intuitives, my ADHDers. There are so many common traits and even medical and mental conditions that can exacerbate procrastination. For example, I have complex PTSD and I'm diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And I look like to a lot of people that I have ADHD and I've never been diagnosed, but I have a lot of symptoms that are similar to someone with ADHD. So one of those is procrastination, is having a hard time focusing at certain times on things. So what is important here isn't that you have this like proper diagnosis, because that can almost actually set you back, because then you can just blame it on that. Oh, I have complex PTSD. Oh, I have anxiety. Oh, I have ADHD. Oh, I'm neurodivergent. Like you can start kind of leaning into that and just kind of like pass it off as like, I'm helpless here. This is just something I have and I can't do anything about it. And I have, a pretty aggressive take on this. And I feel I can speak on this because of how many of your crazy asses I've coached in all my different programs, and the fact that I am a procrastinator myself. And I don't really like speaking things into existence, because what we label ourselves as, we can like really end up leaning into that identity. So first thing I want to say is you can always adjust it by saying, I have a tendency to procrastinate when I'm in fear. I have a tendency to procrastinate when I'm feeling uncomfortable, or when I haven't gotten enough rest, or when I have a lot of stress going on in my life. Because the truth is, you at core, your abundant state, your higher self, your actual like core cellular makeup, you're not a procrastinator. That is simply a symptom of a much deeper problem. And typically that problem involves your nervous system not being regulated. And I don't know how familiar all you all are about addiction, but I am wildly familiar, because because I am in a program from being raised by someone who is an addict. And when we talk about addicts, one of the main things that is said in like the 12-step community, like you've probably heard of AA, right? Is that if something is robbing you spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, like in any of those areas, that is a clear indicator that you have an addiction at play. And when I was reading literature from my recovery program the other day, I came across that reading and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of habits and behaviors that many of us have developed, and really they can turn into an actual drug. Like it goes beyond it being simply a coping mechanism or something that's like irritating that you do, or, you know, as we joke, like quote unquote, a toxic trait of yours. And when it flips over into a mode where it is causing destruction, devastation, disappointment, it's really wreaking havoc on your life, this is when it is turned into a drug. And I want you to really look at it as such if you are someone who is really struggling with it right now, and give yourself some compassion around it. I don't mean like enabling yourself, like, oh, I'm addicted to this kind of a drug and, you know, I'm so helpless and I don't know what I'm going to do. No, more so like have compassion, because people who are addicts, they don't like just start using out of the blue. Addicts start using for the most part as a coping mechanism, as a way to self-soothe, as a way to help themselves regulate. They don't know how to regulate their emotions, their nervous systems, their anxiety, their depression, their laziness feelings that they have. So then they use substances and then they end up being addicted to those substances. So procrastination, and truly even overthinking, but we can use this as another episode if you guys want an episode dedicated to overthinking, overanalyzing, because I think it's warranted. So DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany if that is something that you want. But when we're using something so often to cope, and it's not something that's truly benefiting us to cope, right? It's not like, oh, I'm going to go take a walk, or I'm going to do some breathing exercises, or I'm going to have a session with my therapist or hire Tiffany. And it's something that actually ends up causing you more problems. What are you addicted to? Because it's like, okay, I get it, Tiff. If someone's on cocaine or alcohol, or I can see what someone gets addicted to because it's a mood altering substance. But think about someone being addicted to, for example, gambling, shopping, sex, right? That alters your mood and your chemicals in a different way. Well, so does procrastination. I want to refer to this as your inner drugstore. This is similar to perfectionistic thinking, overthinking, overanalyzing, ruminating. You can be addicted to worry, something you are doing so often that you don't want to be doing it. You have such a difficult time stopping it. You're powerless over it, and it is impacting you spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally on some level. I feel like I need to pause for a moment there for you to go, oh my God, I am addicted to this. Or maybe there's another behavior that's coming up for you, or a habit that's coming up where you're like, this just smacked me in the face and I need to call it like it is, because that is the first step. Admitting that there's a problem here and not it being cutesy. Like, there's a problem here and I need help with this. So we're going to pause for a moment to let you know that my 2-month private business coaching program, I have my spring applications open right now. Now, by the time I'm recording this, my program could already be full. I only take 4 private clients at a time. And this is for the person who has been procrastinating, has been putting off going to the next level. You know that you want to take your skills, gifts, passions, and talents somewhere else and monetize them on a bigger level to help more people, but you just haven't done it. You either don't know how to do it, you don't know where to start, or you have not been able to propel yourself into motion to getting the things done. And you don't like how that feels. You're regretting it. You're like, oh my gosh, it's literally almost May. We're almost into the 5th month of the year, and I'm not where I want to be with my goals and with my business. And I'm done messing around. I don't want to keep kicking the can down the road. I have that option, but I don't like how that looks. This is costing me too much. And I want the holy grail. I want to set myself up for maximum success. Then you'd be a perfect fit for my my 2-month private business coaching program. It is by application only. You can swipe up to access the application in the show notes. It's also in the description on YouTube. And then we can see if it's absolutely a great fit at this time. Please know this is the highest level way to work with me. So do not apply unless you're in an all-in spot, right? This comes with obviously a significant investment of your time, energy, and money. This is not something where you're just at a look-see-loo state and I'm just going to like toe dip a little bit over here expecting like full dip results. No, this is the move where you're like, I'm going all in. Enough's enough already. I know what I need to do. And yes, I coach both new entrepreneurs and established entrepreneurs. It's the same application. It's just a little bit different of a program. Okay. So you know where to go. Swipe up. I also have the spring new member enrollment for my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership that is open right now for new members. This is great if you're wanting a group coaching experience so you're able to get in at a lower cost. It's only $100 a month. You're getting weekly live group coaching trainings with me and other special guest experts, plus a membership portal that has my masterclasses, my courses, my workshops, all the things in there for you. It's designed to get you from $0 to $15,000 consistently a month online. So you can have an in-person business, you can have a service-based business, but you're wanting to generate sales, leads, customers, clients using the interwebs. And I teach you exactly how to do that and being able to do that in a way so that you can have all your digital content selling for you around the clock while you're doing other things. So all the details are at projectmewithtiffany.com/projectmeposse. You can also swipe up. That link is in the show notes and in the description here on YouTube. So procrastination isn't laziness. It is a true coping mechanism. All right. Most people refer to it as a character flaw because it's not exactly a flattering trait, but the leading researcher in procrastination, and I'm going to botch his name, but Dr. Tim Cycle is an emotional regulation expert. And he says that procrastination is an emotional regulation problem, not a time management problem. So procrastination soothes discomfort in the short term, like things like fear of failure, overwhelm, shame. What are people going to think about me? What if I don't do it right? And then it comes at the cost of your long-term goals. So why is it a drug? Well, like any addictive pattern, it offers short-lived dopamine hit. So, which is a relief, right? You do get a feeling of relief. So you do get a hit. It's just coming from the inner drugstore, not from an external drug. But then it's followed by guilt, self-judgment, and then more avoidance. This is no different than alcohol. This is no different than Coke. This is no different than heroin when you really break it down. So here's the neuroscience behind why you delay important tasks. And the reason why I'm breaking down this stuff for you before getting into the solution is because I need to make sure that that brain of yours, that ego of yours gets to a point of going, I do have a problem and I want help with it, because it won't matter if I give you the solution and the things to do, which I'm going to in this episode, if you don't believe that you have a problem that it needs to be addressed and that it's serious. Okay. So your limbic system, which is your emotional brain, and your prefrontal cortex, which is your executive function, are in a constant battle. So the limbic system wants comfort and safety. The prefrontal cortex knows what's best for your future self. So when the limbic system wins, you delay, choosing temporary discomfort over long-term progress, i.e. procrastination. So studies using MRI scans showed increased activity in the amygdala, which is your fear center, during procrastination episodes. My point in sharing that is that there's actual concrete proof that procrastination really is fear in disguise. It's underneath it. Think about when someone goes and says at the end of a really hard day, or they have a bunch of stuff going on in their life that's heavy, I need a drink. I just need to take the edge off. They're wanting to check out. They're wanting to not deal with their emotions. They're not wanting to feel the fear. They're wanting to escape. They're wanting to self-soothe, and they're using a substance to do so. It's no different than when we use habits and behaviors. So 88% of people procrastinate at least 1 hour a day. That might not sound like a lot to you. And some of you are laughing like, I procrastinate like 5 hours a day. I kind of laughed when I read it too. I was like, I'm definitely over an hour if I'm being real. Not every day, but there's some days of the week that are more challenging for me. But even at 1 hour a day, that's 250 hours a year lost to avoidance. Think about that. 250 hours a year that you could be putting towards monetizing your gifts, skills, passions, and talents online, creating content, writing a book, recording a podcast, connecting with loved ones, working out. So for entrepreneurs and small business owners, this delay is a big deal. In fact, it causes even more stress, even more guilt. It really causes a lot of the spiral stuff that goes on, which is why I know like this topic resonates so deeply with you guys, because it's not just in lost time for that day. It's in lost momentum, missed opportunities, and then your confidence goes down because you're not really fully showing up for yourself. So then you start losing trust and belief in yourself, and then you start holding yourself back from going after bigger things or doing bigger things because you're like, I know like I'm terrible about always following through and I'm not consistent, and I know that's needed in order for it to work. So why should I even bother trying? I know how your brain works. Procrastination thrives in perfectionism, overwhelm, and fear of visibility. Perfectionism will tell you, it's not ready yet. It's not time. I need to know more. We need to do A, B, C, and D first. Overwhelm says, there's too much to do, so I'll do none of it. Like, I can't even think right now. I can't even focus. I don't even know what to do. Like, this is just too hard of a day and too hard of a week, and there's too much going on in the world and the energetics of everything going around me. So like, now I'm going to give myself permission to do nothing. Fear of visibility whispers, what if they judge me? What if they find out I don't know what I'm doing? What if I look stupid? What if people are going to say stuff about me and everyone's going to make fun of me and my family and no one's going to want to be around me anymore? All of these activate the same avoidance loops that keeps you in the same cycle week after week after week. So that is how all of this other stuff feeds into the coping mechanism of chronic procrastination. And it really is linked to anxiety, depression, and even lower income. In 2023, a study published in JAMA found procrastinators reported higher rates of anxiety, stress, and poorer life satisfaction. In business, procrastinators are more likely to undercharge, underperform, and self-sabotage scaling opportunities. If you're procrastinating consistently, it's a signal from your nervous system, not a personal weakness. So everything I'm sharing with you right now isn't for you to berate and beat yourself up about. I want you to go, okay, this is a signal that my nervous system needs support. It is on alert. The oil is low. We need to refill the system. We need to give ourselves attention. So here's the thing that I can't stand when motivational, podcasters or authors talk about productivity and procrastination, and they give such basic solutions, and they tell you to like do things like different methods and set a timer. I gotta tell you, none of that shit works for me. Okay. And my guess is, my fellow crazies, it doesn't work for you. So I'm going to give you some stuff that actually does work for me, because obviously I have the receipts. Okay. Like, I've stacked millions of dollars. I help millions of people. We know I follow through with things. That doesn't mean there isn't some wrestling in my mind and struggle behind the scenes, but I do things to set myself up so I can't procrastinate. Similar to what someone who really wants to remain sober, would you think that an alcoholic who truly wants to remain sober would be hanging out with people who party all the time? Would they be regularly meeting friends up at bars? Would they even have the temptation of having bottles of their favorite alcohol in the house? Not if they were really serious. They would make sure that they set up guardrails that when they're having their weaker moments, a stressful day, they're in the halt zone, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, that they are not setting themselves up for failure when it comes to their vice. So you need to set yourself up so that you do not fail when you're having a rough day. Everyone does well with most things when they're having a great day. It's that when we're having a mundane day or a shit day, you need to make sure you have things set up. So I want you to answer the question for yourself. What would I have to do? What boundaries would I have to put in place? What commitments would I have to make? What buffers would I have to have in order for me to not lean into procrastination procrastination, when I'm in fear, when I start getting stressed, when I get scared, what would you have to do? So what I have to do is I have to put money where my mouth is. I have to hire people and pay people a noticeable amount of money. Like it can't be a low amount because I'll blow that off. So it has to be a noticeable amount of money with people I respect to where I'm accountable to them. So I hire people on my team. I've paid for them and it's not a small amount of money. And me procrastinating on following through with stuff in my end or following through on giving them what they need in order to best help me and grow my business, I'm just literally burning cash. And I don't want to burn cash. I don't like that feeling. It's the opposite of what I teach with manifestation and honoring the money that we bring in and how we spend it. So when I set it up that way, there's times where I go, oh, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do this. And newsflash, I don't feel like doing most things most of the time. There's only about 2 days a week, if I'm lucky, where I genuinely feel like doing stuff. And I'm not alone. Most people assume that successful people feel like doing all the things all the time. No, it's that we have guardrails in place that force us to show up anyway, and that we have the discipline to make ourselves show up regardless. And if you do those two things, I'm telling you, your success is inevitable. I actually can promise you that. I feel very strongly about that. So who would you need to hire? Is it working with me privately? I mean, that's a lot of the reason why people come to me. The new entrepreneurs come to me because they want to know like how to do the thing, right? Like how to do it, how to scale it. They don't want to have to waste time, energy, and money figuring it out. But the other side that comes out is I also hired you because I've thought about this long enough. I've been trying to figure it out long enough. I've been telling myself I was going to do this long enough, and yet I haven't. Yet another month has gone by, another month has gone by, and I knew I needed to make sure I did something. So I have no choice but to show up and have the support and the strategy in showing up. And they're kind of embarrassed to say that to me. And I always say back, like, I appreciate you're embarrassed because you have some of your own shame around that, because you think that like that means something about you, that you have these tendencies, but you're a human being. I'm a procrastinator myself. This is why I have 2 coaches and a therapist. This is why I pay for people on my team. Like I have a lot of money that goes out every month that forces me to show up. If I didn't spend that money, if I didn't invest in those guardrails, I can promise you, you wouldn't even be hearing this episode right now. I would end up doing almost the bare minimum just to make sure I can still have my like luxuriating lifestyle, but I probably wouldn't stretch myself, or I'd only do it once in a while, which, as you know, if you've listened to the show long enough, once in a while that's not a business plan. Okay. That's not a success strategy. That's not going to work. So what do you need to have in place? Do you need to hire a trainer? Right? Like maybe it's something with your physical health and that you keep telling yourself you're going to work out and you don't. You even have bought like a walking pad, or you've bought like a class pass or whatever, and you still don't show up. Well, stop fucking around with the small stuff. You need to go for the big guns, and you need to hire someone at a higher price point where it squeezes you a little bit, even if you have to put it on a credit card, even if you have to get a loan for it, where it is setting you up so you have to show up. And if you're resisting making sure you can set things up so you have to show up, then my question to you would be, how bad do you really want it? Because you know you relying on self-will doesn't end well. You telling yourself you're going to do it when you will get it together once it's not work. And you have to come to terms with that, or you're going to keep ending up at the same spot. And this can plague highly successful people. I mean, I am a highly successful person, and I know many other high achievers, people with accolades, people with a gazillion followers, with a lot of money, that you don't think have this stuff going on in the background of overthinking, procrastinating, perfectionism. They do. They just have set it up so they have to show up because they don't want the consequence of not showing up. So ask yourself what that is, because waiting until you feel ready, motivated, or confident before taking action, that doesn't happen. You're waiting for these feelings to come first before you do the thing. It's actually proper actions lead to proper thoughts. It's not the other way around when it comes to procrastination. Okay. Next thing you're going to do is give yourself permission to take one small action before you feel ready. And you can feel the fear and you're going to move anyway. And you can even make an affirmation around it. I give myself permission to take one small, messy action, even though I don't feel ready, and I can feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm going to show up regardless for this one thing. And now you're starting to build a muscle of being able to show up regardless, one small action at a time. Just like you're building up a muscle at the gym that you've not worked in a long time, right? You don't want to go in and do like 70 reps of something. You won't even be able to like sit down to poop the next day. Okay. Like you want to be able to ease into it so that you're setting yourself up for success. So you can go, okay, that wasn't bad. I did this one thing. Now I can do another thing. It's one thing at a time. It's not 1 hour at a time. It's not one day at a time. It's literally one task at a time. Okay. And I don't want you sitting there putting 5,000 things on your list either. You can have a list where you dump all your stuff onto. For my fellow crazies, I know you need to get that out of your brain, but then you have a working list just for that day, and there better not be more than 3 things on it. You can always add to it later, but I want you to see the success, the satisfaction of taking a Sharpie and crossing that thing off the list is amazing. So let's just do 3. That's more than enough. You'll get to the other things. First things first, one task at a time. Okay, this thing's kind of wackadoo, okay, but I suggest it. Tracking emotional triggers, not just your tasks and your to-do lists. So your procrastination is often tied to a feeling, okay? It's not really about the task, right? Like not wanting to review your taxes. You can think, well, who wants to do taxes? And taxes are so admin-y and they're boring and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but when you really peel it back, it's a feeling, it's a resentment, it's an anger. I've worked this hard for this and I do all this and I have to give 50% of it to the government that's like a hot mess at the moment. This does not feel good. That was my rant. And yes, I'm at a 50% bracket. Thank you. And no, it's not because I live in California. I know a lot of you love saying that to me. A majority of my taxes are all federal and I pay weekly taxes and I still had to fucking pay more at the end just this past April. I just had to pay more for 2024 and I had already paid hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands and I couldn't believe I had to pay more and I was procrastinating. But because I pay a CPA team a lot of money that does my bookkeeping, they also are my business manager, I had a set meeting in place and I respect these people tremendously. I've worked with them for years. I'm not going to cancel a meeting with them. I'm not going to put them in a position because there is an actual deadline. And I'm certainly not going to pay a penalty to the government by not meeting the payment on the deadline. So I had guardrails in place where I don't have a choice. I have to show up even though I'm pissed off about it. Okay, enough of my rant about that. So you're going to keep a procrastination pattern tracker for a week. Every time you delay something, and just do this in your notes app. You can do it in like a little journal too if you want, but I think it should be something you have with you all the time. So every time you start delaying something, I'll do it later. I don't feel like it now. I'm tired. Oh, I've got too much to do, or any other clever variety statement that's really procrastinating statements. I want you to ask yourself, okay, what was I thinking? What emotion came up for me? And it can be a single word. It could be fear. It could be exhaustion. It doesn't have to be like you're writing multiple paragraphs. What am I afraid will happen if I do this now? That's really the biggest one. Truly, like if you only answer what emotion and what am I afraid will happen if I do this right now? Those are the 2 biggest ones. I would love to know what you're thinking, but typically what you're thinking is a bunch of nonsense, right? I can't focus. I don't have time. I've had a long day. My head's not clear. Private clients will say to me, oh, well, I was going to wait to talk to you in our next session before I did this, but then I knew you told me my brain was going to say this, so I'm reaching out to you because my private clients get direct access to me via text. And so they're texting me like, I am reaching out because My brain is telling me this, which is what I instruct them to do. Your brain is going to say a lot of nonsense and lie to you. And if you're confused and if you're like, am I procrastinating? Is this self-sabotage? If you're even questioning it, the answer is yes. And then I tell my private clients, reach out to me and say, this is what my brain is saying. It's telling me that I'm confused and I didn't understand the assignment and that I should just wait until the next time that I'm meeting with Tiffany. And I don't know if this is true, but I'm reaching out because I know you'll tell me if this is true or not. And it's never once been true, by the way. So by doing this procrastination pattern tracker, you'll uncover the emotional root of what is going on within you that needs the real attention, that needs the real support, that needs the real love. It could be fear of failure, rejection, judgment, fear of exhausting yourself, fear of working so hard, fear of not having time for your kids. That is what we really need to talk to. That's the root. So like the 12-step program that I'm in, which is adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families. And the only reason I'm saying the name of it is so that you guys know that that program exists. But also in that program, there are people who we call double winners. So they're also sober addicts that come in there because they also were raised by an addict or in a dysfunctional family. So they are sent to ACA because when you remove the substance you're addicted to, you're left with the root cause, the thing that drove you to use the substance to cope. So people who are in Overeaters Anonymous, who are in SLAW, which is sex love addiction, all these people end up in ACA in order to deal with what they've been trying to soothe, what they've been trying to stuff down, what they've been trying to avoid with the substance, with the habit, with the behavior that was destructive and destroying their lives. This is what's happening with procrastination. What is at root here? What are you utilizing the drug of procrastination for to cover up? And you will find this out for sure within a week of doing this pattern tracker. I can't wait for you guys to DM me on Instagram and let me know what comes up for you. Also, make sure you're taking a screenshot of this episode and sharing it in TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, tagging me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Share this with a fellow procrastinator, someone who talks about procrastinating. They will highly appreciate this take, even though it's kind of bold and it's hitting you between the eyes. You need to hear things like this in order to wake you up out of a behavior that is causing you a lot of pain and blocking the abundance that you have sitting right there in your life. Like, this is one of the main things that's getting in your way. So the next thing is use body first activation. Why this works. This is why I have my guided abundance walks for you guys as well. Movement resets your nervous system and shifts you from freeze to flow. So a lot of you end up in this functional freeze, which shows up as procrastination. So functional freeze is like you seem like you're functioning on the outside. It's not like you're lying in bed drooling, but you're really not productive. You're kind of walking around numb. You're not getting anything significant done, but you're getting the basics, right? Like you can eat, you can maybe run an errand or two, but it's like no one's really home. It's like a hollow experience. And getting back in your body and getting your cells moving and some of those endorphins going really can wake your nervous system back up that's gone into a freeze state. So before tackling a task, I want you to do some 90-second body-based activation. So you can shake out your limbs, you can do jumping jacks, you can have a mini dance party, you can do breath work, breathing fast in and out through your mouth for 30 seconds. This shakes off the stagnant energy, keeping you stuck in procrastination. A body in motion stays in motion, but you get in that stuck monkey energy where you're like, blah, you are not going to be able to get into movement that easily. It's much easier to get your brain moving when your body is in motion. So I need you to prioritize moving your body. And you can't say that you don't have 90 seconds, right? I'm not sitting here telling you even have to do a workout program. I even will sometimes take a really cool shower. I can't always do a cold shower, but I do a cool shower because that's stimulating. That wakes me up. Some people cold plunge, right? It's something that's like getting your entire body and nervous system wake back up. We got to go, but in a way that's not toxic to your body. So I want you to make it smaller than stupid. Here's what I mean. Your brain resists tasks it sees as too big, unclear, or risky, like too complicated. That's why my job here and what I'm an expert at in showing you how to grow and scale your business and monetizing your gifts, skills, and passions and talents online is I simplify everything. I keep it straightforward and to the point. We're not available for doing unnecessarily hard things. You know why? Because you won't do them. That's why in working in my private 2-month coaching program, we make it customized to where you're going to do it. Because if it does not feel good to you and your ideal client and how we create your customer acquisition system and how we customize your profitable content plan and how we design and execute your offers, you're not going to do the thing, so it won't matter. And likely the reason why maybe things haven't grown as much as you've wanted them to, or maybe you haven't expanded as much as you want, or even haven't started, is because you've not taken a customized approach. You've been kind of doing a what works for someone else should work for me. And then because it doesn't work for you, you get mad at yourself and then start telling yourself a story that like, well, maybe I'm not cut out to do this. Maybe I'm not focused enough. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm not whatever enough. No, that's not true. It's just not been customized to your exact personality type and your lifestyle. Because if you believe it is going to be hard, which is another lie your brain is going to tell you and going to get you into procrastination, it's hard, it's heavy, it's boring, this is going to take so much time. You keep telling yourself that is not going to get you to do the thing. That's only feeding the drug of procrastination. It's like the gateway drug to procrastination. So I want you to set the bar absurdly low. So instead of saying, and I had to do this for this episode, which is quite ironic given the topic, instead of saying, I got to record my podcast, I got to record the podcast. Oh my God, I can't believe this show's on procrastination. Now I'm procrastinating on the procrastination podcast, probably because it feels vulnerable for me to talk about procrastination because I still have some self-judgment around it. And who am I to talk about procrastination because I still procrastinate at times. And then those are all the feelings, right, with all of it. And I'm kind of feeling tired. So then I'm like, I'm kind of feeling tired. It's at the end of the day. And then I'm worried that I'm not going to deliver the goods in the way that you guys want it. And then you guys won't like it. And you won't listen to the episode. Then no one will listen to it anymore. And then I won't have the podcast. Then it will all go away. And I'll be living in a tent with my office supplies. I'm not joking. That is the inside of my brain, just in case we're not clear how unwell my mind is. So instead I said, open the notes app and type 3 bullet points of key things that you want to discuss. And we're going to start there. And then this lowers the barrier. It tricks the brain into engaging. And then I went to the next thing. I'm going to do my setup and turn on my lights and get my beverage and put on some lip gloss. Then I did the next thing. Okay, let's test my audio and let's make sure I have my notes pulled up for my intro. And now, since I've just done all the kind of easy things that I can do, I have still gotten myself into momentum, right? And now I'm in some kind of momentum. Now I might as well, the lights are on, the damn Zoom is on, the audio's been checked, my notes are pulled up, my lip gloss is on. Now I may as well record, or now I'm a fool. I do this with the gym. Even when I walk to yoga, okay, because that one's walking distance. Pilates I have to drive to. When I don't feel like it, which by the way is literally every time. I am not someone who's like, yay, I get to go to the gym today. That's just not me. It's never been me. But I want the after. I want the feeling after. And that's the whole point in what I'm sharing with you. You got to focus on the cookie, how it feels when you're done. You feel relief. You feel proud of yourself. You feel empowered. You can exhale. Then you can truly relax. You're not sitting there stewing in guilt and shame and even anxiety for not doing the thing, worried about doing the thing. You're not waking up the next morning going, oh my God, now I have to do double the things because I didn't do all the things yesterday. And now I have a pile of things I have to do. You get to wake up and have a sense of peace and ease. You get the feeling of having all those endorphins after a workout and feeling proud of yourself for showing up for yourself and feeling more limber and loose in your body. So I will tell myself, you know what, sweetie, you don't have to go to yoga, but how about we put on our yoga outfit? And then the next step is let's just walk there. And if by the time you get there, you don't want to do the class, you can turn around. And I really mean it, like giving myself true permission. But of course, by the time I walk there, it's like, okay, I've just walked here and I also had to walk up a hill. Like I might as well do the damn class. Same when I drive to Pilates. I put on the outfit, I caffeinate, I have some protein. I still don't want to go. I mean, there's guardrails there because your ass gets charged when you don't show up, which I'm appreciative of. Plus, I love my instructors and I would not want to be disrespectful to them as a no-show or take up one of the Pilates beds where someone else couldn't get in the class because I no-showed. So that's a great guardrail, is to be able to do workouts like that for me. So I go, okay, we're going to drive there. You can go in. So my permission is you can leave at any time you want during the class. Just do 15 minutes. And if you don't feel well, you're still tired, you're not into it, like, because I can convince myself I'm nauseous. I can convince myself that I'm pushing myself too hard and it could hurt my cortisol. I can come up with all sorts of clever lies that sound believable. So I'm like, okay, well, you can leave after 15 minutes. You know, that's okay. And I never do. I never have. But giving yourself that permission. So get yourself in some momentum. You're not going to be able to think your way out of procrastinating. Do you think someone who's truly addicted to alcohol can think their way or even pray their way to not drink? No, you've got to have things in place in order to set yourself up for success. And you just haven't set up enough things in place. Maybe you did at one point and you got out of a habit, or you fell off of having those things because you went on a vacation or you were being a cheap ass and you're like, well, I was in Tiffany's Posse membership and then I stopped, or I was doing a program, or I was doing these things and then, you know, I got sick and then I fell out of doing that. I really need to get back into it. Some of you say, well, you're getting back into it now. We're not going to waste away the second half of this year by you procrastinating it away and still being addicted to this drug. You get to be in charge. There are things that you can control in order to manage this. It's still always going to be your tendency, by the way. It's still always going to be your escape hatch. Just like an addict, they have that tickle in their mind. That's why they have to like attend sobriety meetings and have guardrails in place for the rest of their life. You have bad habits, destructive habits that are where you tend to go when you're in fear, when you're sad, when you're stressed, when you're lonely, when you're tired, and everyone has them. Literally everyone. I've coached some uber successful people. My former coach is worth $100 million. Okay. Like I've been around a lot of people who have great success in life and they have all of these traits because they're human beings too. It's a matter of what are you doing to protect yourself from them so you don't go to them as often or you don't sink into them as deeply, right? If you're someone who tends to go and like shove a bunch of sugar in your face when you're stressed, do you think it'd be smart to have a bunch of sugar in your house? Probably not. So if you did, that'd be self-sabotage. So I want you to take away from this episode and committing, what am I putting in place? What actions am I taking to set myself up so that I can't veer off the road anymore here because you just thinking you're going to stop or something's going to change with it? It's the most destructive, costly lie you're going to tell yourself. In fact, it's costing you the wealth you want, the freedom you want, the abundance you want, the joy you want, the inner peace you want. It's costing you everything. I know. Okay. I've gotten into cycles of doing this and it is not cute. And that's why I did this episode, because I know there's a lot of fear going on in the world and we are not going to double down and destroy ourselves in the meantime. This gets to be a time that you resurrect yourself and you do things differently now. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. All the links of everything I mentioned, from my 2-month private coaching program to my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership, are all inside the show notes when you swipe up here in the description on YouTube. And I look forward to seeing you soon.